In one of our previous videos, we compared all the specs on the Wright stander versus the SCAG V-Ride stander. But today, we're going to put them to the test with this thick grass behind me. Hey guys, Zach here from Kubota of Lynchburg, and today I wanted to test the Wright stand-on compared to the SCAG V-Ride stand-on. The reason being, we recently did a video that compared all the specs and features and pros and cons one versus the other, so I'm not going to go over all that today. Just watch the previous video, link somewhere here, to take a look at all that. But my parents have actually been out of town for about 6 months, and they instructed the people watching their house not to cut their grass, which is handy for me because now I get to cut this. It is now, let's see, it's the end of June, and so it's thick grass you can see behind me. You know, it hasn't been cut once this season. A lot of it comes up to about knee to waist height on me. And, you know, it's going to be a good comparison between these two and maybe that untested yard. You know, the people, they forgot to do their landscaping, or their yard guys didn't come out on time, so they just hired you. So which mower do you need to cut the thick grass? Which deck is better? Because that's one of the big important things. I really love the SCAG V-Ride Velocity deck, and the Airstorm deck is great as well, but you know, this is known to have like the best deck for thick material. So we're going to test that out today because that's one of the big comparisons between the two. So first, I'm going to basically take each mower down in one stripe. These are as identical machines as I could get. They're both 37 horsepower Vanguard EFI engines. They're both 61-inch decks. The only difference realistically between the two is this one has the wheels on it, and this one has pneumatic tires. That's what I had in stock, sorry. But they're as close to comparison as possible. So we're going to take them down each in a row. I'm going to kind of take a look at those rows and see what they did. After that, we're going to basically split the yard half and half, so we can then see the difference in patterns and the difference in thickness and everything that we cut. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Wright because that's the one that won in my last video. That's the one I ended up preferring. So we're going to start with our first stripe on that one. All right, thoughts on the first pass. So I went down once, back once. They felt realistically the same, maybe a little bit less bogging, but barely on the SCAG. Looking at the cut quality, that first pass down, now the pass coming back, I went through some thicker grass where the drainage field is. But on the first pass down, there is still some streaking left, which is what I fully expect with both of these mowers. I'm trying to see if I can tell if there's a difference between the two. It is very close to similar. It is very similar one versus the other. It looks like maybe the velocity left a little bit less strands. It actually looks like this has more strands, but it's the strands aren't as thick on this one. So obviously, even though these are the best stand-ons in the market, you're going to have to do a double pass. Now, I didn't take it slow. I am cutting at 4-inch cut height. That makes a huge difference. If I were to raise them all the way up, you know, and go a little bit slower, I could probably get by with it. But I was trying to test at normal speed with a slightly higher than normal, but more close to normal mower deck height. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm actually going to raise them up both to 4.5, just a little bit more, 4.5, and go and do basically the rest of the clearing. And I'm going to leave this section in the center to kind of differentiate between the two. And I'll work my way up and down a couple rows and see what we come up with. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit to try to get a little bit better that cut quality going as well. Real quick, for you commercial landscaper guys that are hating me right now because of how I cut the grass, I am not a landscaper. I don't cut grass for a living. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm a professional salesman. So I know all the specs and features. Please, I apologize for probably how poorly I just did and all the mistakes I just made. So don't judge me too hard. All right, guys. Well, it is close. I'll give them that. It's close, but, which was surprising to Leah, I think the SCAG actually wins on this one. You should see some footage basically, and it's tough to tell. It's not exactly apples to apples, but as close as possible, it looks like the SCAG left less strands sitting up than the Wright did. And in my opinion, it felt like I was able to go slightly faster without feeling that slight bog down of the engine. So I think the velocity deck is going to be the winner here. Now I'm going to go mow the entire yard for them now. And if I change my mind at the end, I'll come back and tell you guys. But for right now, it looks like the SCAG is going to win the thick material test. Now, if you're an all-day, everyday operator and you maintain that yard every week or two, I'd go to the Wright. If you are going to be doing those properties that grow up for a month or two, or all those new properties, you might want to have a SCAG with a velocity deck. Of course, it also comes down to operator control. I'm not the expert here, you guys are, but from my personal experience here and knowing the specs and everything like that, I think the SCAG will win for the thick material and the Wright will win for overall spec and performance and everything like that on its actual own features. So you guys pick and choose which one's better for you. Either way, they're great.